All right, if you're a CPA in Canada, I need your full attention because the rules of the game for data privacy have totally changed. And it's all because of a law coming out of Quebec called Law 25. And yes, it almost certainly applies to you, even if your office is thousands of kilometers away.
So let me just ask you a really simple question. Does your firm, wherever it might be in Canada, have any clients who actually live in Quebec? Because when we're talking about Law 25, this right here, this is the only number you really need to remember. Just one. And here it is, the punchline. They're calling it the one client rule. If you handle the personal information of just one single person in Quebec, this law applies to your entire firm. It doesn't matter how big or small you are, there are no revenue thresholds, no exemptions. Your liability now crosses provincial borders.
And that is exactly why we're calling Law 25 Canada's new highest common denominator for privacy. You know, just complying with the old federal standard, PIPEDA, well, that's not good enough anymore. The safest path forward for any firm in the country is to adopt Law 25's much stricter rules. So what is this thing really? Well, you can think of Law 25 as pretty much the toughest privacy law in all of North America. What really gives it its teeth is the shift away from that old, kind of gentle ombudsman model. Now we have a powerful regulator, the CIA, with some very, very serious enforcement powers.
And this isn't just some small tweak to the rules. It's a complete 180-degree turn in philosophy. Under the old system, PIPEDA, you could often just assume you had a client's consent. Law 25 flips that completely on its head. The new default is express, active, opt-in consent.
So what does that look like in the real world? Well, you know those pre-checked marketing boxes on your forms? Gone. That tiny paragraph about data use that's buried deep inside your engagement letter? Not compliance anymore. Consent has to be asked for separately in plain, simple language that anyone can understand. Okay, so let's get practical. What does this mean for your firm's day-to-day work? Well, there are 3 core duties that every single firm needs to deal with. And I have to be clear, these are not suggestions. They're non-negotiable. First up, you have to have a designated privacy officer. Right out of the gate, the law says your CEO or managing partner is on the hook. Now, you can delegate that role, but it has to be done in writing. And critically, you can't just keep it a secret. You have to publish their title and contact info right on your firm's website for the whole world to see. Second, and this is a big one, is vendor management. Your responsibility for a client's data doesn't just stop at your firewall. If you upload it to a cloud service or use a third-party tax software and they have a breach, well, that's now considered your firm's breach. The only way to protect yourself is with a solid written contract that spells out exactly how they're going to protect that data. And third, you need to start doing something called Privacy Impact Assessments, or PIAs. This isn't just more paperwork. Think of a PIA as a proactive risk management tool. It's a formal way to find and fix privacy risks before you roll out a new system, not after something's gone wrong. So when do you actually have to do one? The law is crystal clear. Thinking about getting a new client portal? You need a PIA. Redesigning how you deliver services online? Yep, PIA. And anytime you plan to transfer personal information outside of Quebec, you guessed it, you must do a PIA first. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like a ton of work, and you're not wrong. But let's talk about the alternative. The cost of doing nothing is incredibly high, and it breaks down into 3 different tiers of risk.
Tier 1 covers the operational slip-ups, things like not reporting a breach correctly or collecting data you shouldn't have. The fine for that can be up to $10 million, or 2% of your firm's worldwide turnover, whichever one is bigger. Tier 2? Now we're getting into the really serious stuff. This is for major offenses, like failing to have proper security in place. Here, the fines shoot up to $25 million, or 4% of worldwide turnover. And get this, those fines double for a second offense. And then we have Tier 3, which honestly might be the most dangerous of all. Law 25 creates something called a private right of action. This means an individual whose privacy was violated can sue your firm directly for a minimum of $1,000. That opens the floodgates for devastating class action lawsuits. Okay, I know that sounds terrifying, but let's take a deep breath because you can do something about this. Let's pivot from the scary stuff to the solution. Here is your actionable plan to start building a defensible compliance program right now. Here are your 4 marching orders.
1. Appoint and publicize that privacy officer. Don't wait, do it today. 2. Make PIAs a mandatory, non-negotiable part of your process for any new tech. 3. Audit your vendor contracts. Make sure they are Law 25 compliant. And 4. Tear down your old consent process and build a new one from scratch. Make it separate, make it simple, and make it an active choice. If you walk away with just one single idea today, please let it be this. The core philosophy of Law 25 is privacy by default. This isn't just a new regulation. It's a complete rewiring of how you have to think about client data. The most private, most secure option must always be the starting point.
So here's the bottom line. The old way of thinking was, the vault is open and we'll use your data unless you tell us to stop. The new reality of Law 25 is the exact opposite. I want you to think of it like this. The vault is locked. You cannot use your client's data for anything until they willingly, knowingly, and explicitly give you the key for that one specific purpose. The only question left is, are you ready to start asking for it?